There are almost 8 billion humans in this crowded planet. Some of us like to be individuals while others prefer to simply blend in. This is the story of one young man, Kewal Shiels, who has no such choice. He stands out by standing head and shoulders above the world. At 2.21 metres, that's 7'3" on the old scale, he's Australia's tallest man. With no medical condition to account for his height, doctors say Kewal is simply the recipient of a lucky hand in life. But spend time with him and you end up not only with a crick in your neck, but an appreciation that life at great altitude has its downsides. I had been forewarned, but still nothing could prepare me for the shock that comes with first encountering Australia's tallest man.
Charles?
Charlie.
Nice to meet you.
You certainly don't disappoint, do you?
Come in and grab a coffee.
Love one. At home with Kewal Shiels, an affable 30-year-old bachelor from the Melbourne suburbs, I contemplated life in his size 17 shoes.
How do you have it, Charles?
Oh, I'll have a long black, thanks, mate. And I started to appreciate the world is not built for people 7'3" tall. I noticed you got high ceilings.
Just by coincidence, really.
Really? You didn't...
Yeah.
I mean, not every house is going to fit, is it? No ceiling fans.
Luckily. Got lucky with this rental. Just happened to be a little bit higher, these doorways.
And my God, look at the length of the bed.
This is where the magic happens.
Inch leg,
To see how
a
they
young
fit.
man's fashion options are limited. I'm the fool guy here.
Perfect fit.
That is really very
Yep,
serious.
yep.
There are advantages, of course, a proficiency for basketball being one of the more obvious. But off the court, there's still the question of courting. That first date can be a challenge when you tower above everyone. Just ask Kewal's mates. He's a charming guy, but somebody told me he's on Tinder. Is that true?
I can confirm that, yeah.
Yes. And do you signal your height on Tinder?
No, well, unless it gets to the point where you're actually going to meet them, I guess I like to give them a warning if it gets to that point, just so they're not too shocked, I guess.
Can I have a female view on that?
He's a head turn. Yeah. Heads will turn and lift.
Born in 1988 to a Tanzanian father who stood by comparison at an unremarkable 6'4", and an Australian mum, Kerry, relatively short at 6 foot tall, Kewal was a standout kid from the very beginning.
When I was 8 years old, I think I would have been about 5'8". When I was 12 was when I caught Mum, so I was about 6'1".
So soon.
She was in denial for a while. When I was 16, I would have hit 6'10" by about that age. And then I think, when I was in year 12 at high school was when I hit 7 foot.
It was a shock when he got to be your height so early.
Oh, absolutely. I knew he would pass me for sure, but just not so early. It's like, no, not yet. It's too soon. Wow, he's taller than me and he's like so young.
Kewal's parents split when he was a toddler, leaving mum Kerry to rear him on her own. At 8, he's the height of a teenager. Did people think because he's behaving like an 8-year-old that there's something wrong here?
Absolutely, yes. People are. Well, it's not even unkind. I just think they're sort of like socially inept. They don't edit what they're saying. It just falls out of their mouth and they don't even
Such
realise they're
as?
being rude. oh my God, you're on stilts, or you just all sorts of silly things, you know.
The tendency to stare at people who differ from the norm should come as no surprise.
Oh, just that?
But when you're on its receiving end, and it's all you've ever known, it can wear a man down.
And there was a moment in IKEA, and I think I was just there buying some furniture, and a couple were there with their very young daughter, and they kept pointing at me and going, "Look at him, look how tall he is." And I think I went over to them and I said, and you don't mind so much when it's kids because they know no better, but when you see adults teaching kids bad habits, I think I just went up to them and said, "You're teaching your daughter really bad habits." And she was pretty shocked and taken aback, and she's like, "Oh, well, we're just trying to show her that everyone's different." And I said, "But it's such a double standard. Would you do the same thing if you saw a short-statured person?" And yeah, look, I don't want to be defined by my height, and I don't want to seem like I'm complaining about it either, because it's given me a lot of opportunities. But there's definitely a side to it that sits a little uncomfortably with me sometimes. It can almost get a little bit exploitative sometimes, I think.
G'day, mate. You don't mind we take a selfie, do you?
No, not at all.
Oh, yes. If you think of genes as a deck of cards, well, a rather big deck of cards, about 22,000 cards, it's just that in this instance, the gentleman received a full house, a favourable hand.
Professor Savari Ryan from the Murdoch Children's Research Institute is an expert on human growth. So you can be 7'3" high and not have a medical condition.
Absolutely. If you look at height like a normal distributed curve, he's on the taller end of the spectrum, but it can easily be done without having any specific condition or genetic condition or disease per se.
What dictates the growth of those long bones?
It all happens in this specialised area of the bones called the growth plate. And we know that there may be up to 100 different genes or genetic instruction packets that contribute to one's final adult height.
His parents are slightly over 6 foot, but nothing like this boy.
Yeah, the genetics of height's really complicated. The deck was a little bit stacked, and then he just got a very good deal.
But as with so many cards dealt in life, hold them or fold them, you can only play with what you've been given. Was there a time when you went to your mum and said, "I don't want to be this tall"? Or "I don't want to be as tall as I think I'm going to be"?
I think there might have been a point where I did go to her and say, I don't want to grow anymore. I mean, that's enough. I've got enough. I feel like I'm getting enough tension as it is. It's already...
At that stage, you would be how high?
I was probably 14 or 15 at that age, maybe 6'9", 6'9", possibly 6'10". And obviously at that age, I think, you just want to fit in. You just want to be like everyone else, like all your friends.
Well, Kewal came to me when he was about, 15 or something. He said, "Mum, I really don't want to be much taller than this." So I took him to a paediatrician and we asked what could we do to sort of slow down the growth or stop it. And they had some horrific ideas that he could take hormones, but they had terrible side effects, or he could have surgery and have pieces cut out of his legs, but the legs could grow at different lengths. And I said, "Hon, you're just going to be really tall. You're just going to have to accept it."
Oh, do you really fit into this?
It's not ideal, but it's temporary. It'll serve me for the next couple of months anyway.
Let's see you squeeze in there. Contorting himself into confined spaces is Kewal's lot in life. The one-time car salesman loves cars, but wishes they were a little bigger. Now, you've been in the car trade.
I have been.
What would you really like to drive?
I love the Ford Mustangs, especially the V8s. So,
That's your dream?
That's on my list, I think.
Well, mate,
yeah.
have I got a deal for you? We're going to make your dream come true. come and meet the mayor.
Mr. Mayor,
This is a big day in town.
how are you?
Well, thank you, and you?
Good to see you. Very well, thank you.
Congratulations. On behalf of the Moira Shire, it's my pleasure to present the key of the city to you in our fastest growing town. Hello.
What an
Well
honour.
done.
Thank you. And it doubles as an air guitar.
It does.
Hey, mate, how are you?
Good, welcome back to Yarrawonga, mate.
Thank you, good to be back.
Everyone wants a photo,
You can look at us too, you know.
Oh, okay.
and the local newspapers turned out too.
And looking at me again, mate.
Around these parts, Kewal and his key are front page news.
What's going on? Hey, kids.
And back at his old school, it's like a royal reception.
Do you have trouble getting through doorways?
Most of them, yeah. I have to duck a little bit.
With a basketball thrown in. Finally, there's a family reunion that actually says everything about the mystery of the genetic lottery.
Okay, let's get a family photo. Are we ready? Smiling.
This is Marty. She's Kewal's auntie. And at 4'11", she's the short twist in this tall tale.
Yay, beautiful. That's lovely.
Marty, it's a genetic mystery, isn't it? You're his mum's sister. Look at the size of you and the size of him.
We always knew he was going to be tall, like his mum and dad, but...
I think I overtook you pretty
Yeah, he overtook me when he was about 8, I think.
But regardless of stature, all families are much the same. And Kerry only wants what every other mum wants for their son. Every mum wants to be grandmother. And
Absolutely.
he's your only one, isn't he?
Yes, my one and only.
Would you want him to find a shorter girl?
Look, biologically it would be sensible, wouldn't it? But, look, I would just like him to find love and be happy, and whether they were short or tall, really, that's the important thing, isn't
Neither
it,
here nor
really,
there.
Charlie?
Do you give him advice?
No, he'd say, Mum, back off, back out. Not your business. I know more than you anyway. You're single, what would you know? All that sort of stuff, yes.
He's probably right.
Yeah, true. Probably is. Probably does know more than me.
I've
I've never even looked at a Tinder site. Wouldn't even know.
It's an app, not a site.
There you go, see? How ignorant am I?
Kerry, if you and I were to write the Tinder profile, what would we put in? A decent
Generous,
mate.
very generous and thoughtful. He's a very thoughtful son.
What would we mention about his height, though?
Well, I'd probably say outstandingly tall.
Hello, I'm Charles Wooley. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the latest from 60 Minutes Australia, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You can also download the 9Now app for full episodes and other exclusive 60 Minutes content.